everyone. Happy Saturday. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another episode of Rooted in Christ. And okay, before I start, so my mom told me, so my mom is doing a 40 days in Spanish. But since she didn't want to stream like twice, on the channel at the same time, she told me to say that this is day number 15 of her how am I gonna call it, of the 40 days. The only thing is that today would be in English. So I hope you've been doing well, and I hope you've been trusting the Lord, getting to know Him. I hope you've been rooted in Him, just trusting Him and loving Him, and letting Him fulfill you, letting Him tell you what's good and what's not good, and so forth. I know I've been letting Him, guide me and teach me, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So to not make it long, what we're going to talk about today is we won't always get what we want. And I know in society, I know that's not popular. Because I think it is Ariana Grande that she has a song that says, I see it. Like, if I see something, I want it and I get it. And normally, like, that's the mindset. Like, if you work for something, or if you're working hard, period, like, you should be able to get like whatever it is that you want. Because you are working hard for it and you deserve it. That's like the mindset, that the therapeutic like mindset. Like, you deserve it, you work hard for it, like, you go and do it. And I'm not here to say whether that's wrong or right, because that's not my place. Okay, absolutely not my place. What I am going to share with you is what God has been teaching me, and again, I always like to give this disclaimer. I'm not a pastor or anything. I just love the Lord, and in obedience to Him, I'm doing this podcast, even though I wouldn't be doing it by myself, like by my own calling, because I'm just not the type of person. I like to keep to myself. Okay, I just like to keep to myself. But anyway, but I'm being obedient. So all that to say, this is just someone who loves the Lord, who's sharing here what the Lord has been, like, teaching me, and the hope that it will bless you. By no means, this is like a doctrine that you need to follow. Okay, by no means like this is the way to do things. No. Okay, whatever you hear from me, and just from anyone in the internet, and even in real life, the Bible, tells us, and like, the Bible is so great because it gives so great advices. It says that, take in everything, but discern it. Like, consume everything. Hi, God bless you. So, like, consume everything. Whatever you think is okay. Learn from everything. But at the end of the day, filter it, and take what's good and leave what's bad. Like, you shouldn't feel forced by anyone. God bless you, Brenda. And I guess God bless you, L4. I don't want to say the first 3 letters that you have. Absolutely not. So all this to say, you should never, like, if anyone force you ever, like, if you ever feel forced to follow someone, like, advice or opinion, that's not, like, it's not coming from the Lord, because even the Lord doesn't like force us to do things. It's up to us whether we believe if he exists or not. So so this is what I believe. If God himself doesn't force you to believe in him or do anything, no one else who is a human being just like you and me should force you to do, whatever they want you, to do, or whatever they want you to believe. Like, no one should force you to believe in something. You, at the end of the day, decide whether you believe something, whether you want to practice it, whether you want to put it into practice. It's up to you. So all this disclaimer is to say that whatever I say here, take it to the Lord and say, okay, Lord, okay, I thought this was good. I learned some things. Like, is this something that I should do to? Ask the Lord, okay? By anything. So I'm saying this to whatever I say and whatever you hear anyone out there, okay? Because I think we have information so readily available to us that sometimes I feel like that's why we are confused, because we're just hearing just any people and then we're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that, and we don't process it. We don't take it to the Lord and say, okay, and ask the Lord, hello, we don't take it to the Lord and say, hey Lord, is this something that you want me to actually follow? Is this a teaching or a truth or an advice that you want me to put into practice? We just do it. Jocelyn, God bless you, and Alwyn, God bless you too. So just take everything to the Lord, okay? So anyways, so as I was saying, going straight to what this is gonna be about. So not everything that we want, we will get it. And I know that's not popular. As I was saying, I know that's not popular because of what I said at the beginning. I'm not gonna repeat what I said 7 minutes ago. But God confronted me with that, because sometimes it's so easy. I mean, it's just so easy to believe that if you are working honestly, and you're working hard, that you should get whatever you want. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? And I'm not here to say whether that's right or wrong. As I said at the beginning, I'm not gonna tell you, oh, that mindset is wrong. No, what I'm going to tell you is what the Lord has been telling me, and then you decide, if that's something that you and the Lord, want to talk about. So lately, I've been thinking, oh Lord, and I want this, and I want to buy this from EOS. I'm gonna tell you my challenges, okay? My things that the Lord has been dealing with me. And I want to buy this necklace, and I want to buy this earring, and then I want to travel this place, and then when I graduate from law school, I want to do this, and I want to do that, and and this is the house I want, and this is the car I want, and the Lord was just, he was just letting me be a child, and telling him all these things, as that's what it's all about, having a relationship with God, and I was telling him, oh, and this new lip gloss came out, and I think I want it. I don't need it, I want it. And then this product for the face, this face mask came out, and I wanted to, and the Lord is so, he's so funny. He was just just letting me, and then he asked me, okay, first of all, with what money? And I was like, what do you mean with what money? With the money I work for. And I was like, my money, what are you talking about? And then that was the first conviction. He told me, well, is it your money? It's like, no, Lord, it's not my money. It's by your grace that I have this source, this very minimum source, while I'm away from school, and then until I go back to school. And then he was like, yeah, exactly, this is a temporary income. And then I was like, oh my God, you're so right. This is a temporary. So that was like the first thing that he was like telling me. So which money? What money? I told him my money. And then he was like, are you sure it's your money? Then I got convicted. Oh my God, it's so right. It's by your grace that I'm like, that I have this source of income. And then he told me it's temporary. And he was convicting me like, you're letting things that are not bad. Because what is wrong about wanting a lip gloss? Absolutely nothing. Now, things that he has been teaching me. One thing is to want something, and I'm sure you probably already know this. We can want something and we don't necessarily need it. And it's okay. I mean, sometimes God will come through for you, and he will give you things that you want, not that you need, just because, he loves you and he wants to, to bring you, happiness, joy over here and there, he wants to see you happy. Like God wants to see you happy. So he will do things even if you don't deserve it. Like his mercy will come through for you, and you're gonna be like, God, thank you, because he has done that for me. Because I know there's things that I don't deserve, and then he just comes through and I'm like, yeah, only you, God, you're good. Because he's a good father. That's what he does. But at the end of the day, God, when he returns, he's looking. So when Jesus comes back, he's gonna look for himself and you and I. And this is where the whole thing, and this is where like I'm not gonna get like whether wanting something is good or bad, because I think if we get into that conversation, we're losing sight of the important thing. It's not about whether wanting something is good or bad. It's about your character. It's about character, because at the end of the day, when Jesus comes back, he's gonna come and he's gonna look for himself and you and I. And it is those little things that form character within you and I. Romans, and this is where it's all coming from. So Romans 15, just to give you a quick rundown. So in Romans 14, Paul was talking about, like food, like how some people would think that certain foods are okay, or worshiping on certain days was okay. This whole like tension that was like between believers on like things that they should believe and whatnot. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, Jocelyn. God bless you. Absolutely no worries. God bless you. And so just to give you the background, so you can go and read that if you want to, Romans 14. Now, I'm just telling you this so you understand this first verse of Romans 15. He says, we who are strong must be considerate of those who are sensitive about things like this. And those things like this are what I just told you. They were talking about food and days of worship and different, and just different mindsets. Because sometimes we get into this like, we get into this like conversations like, oh, this is the way to worship, but this is like the way that things should be. When the Bible tells us that, those are irrelevant things to argue. And they don't even deserve a time for argument, because that won't save you. You know what will save you? Jesus. Believing he's Lord and that he's coming back. And like we get so caught up on this like little things, because we like to categorize things. We want whether good, bad, yes, no. And walking with God is so much more than that. Like it's so much more than was wrong or was bad. Like it's about, again, like it's about character. It's like it's about relationship. It's about your heart. Because you could be doing all the good things from the outside. You look like the perfect, like a Christian, quote unquote, and your heart is rotten. Like you haven't actually let God transform your heart. Like you probably are greedy. You probably are like envious. Like you envy people, um or I don't know, like you have bitterness inside of you, like, and those are things that are like in the inside, that is about character, and those are the things that Jesus really wants to get, in work. Because when he works the inside of you, it just happens automatically that the outside reflects it. So you won't have to be like discussing with someone whether like the way that they're dressing, or like the way that they're like presenting themselves is like the correct way or not. Like those are, if you ask me, those are like nonsense to be like arguing about, because it's not about the outside, it's about the inside. I mean, how many times have you taken an apple? It has happened to me multiple times, that it looks so good, it looks so delicious, you look at it and you're like, oh my god, you're so good, and then you bite and it's like, it's rotten in the inside. Well, that's exactly how this thing's like. It's not about the outside look. It's not about like talking the right way. It's not about knowing the language of being a Christian. It's not about knowing like what to say and what not. It's really about this. It's about your heart, because that's what Jesus looks at, and that's what he, searches for. That's what the psalmist, that's what David. So God, he's like, Lord, search me, please, and like, and look anything in me that doesn't align with you. And that's what like walking with God is all about. And as a result, like when you let God like search your heart and let you know the things are good, I mean, no good, I won't even classify, let you know the things that don't please him versus the things that do please him, you will automatically like, it's gonna show. I mean, you won't even need, like, you won't even have to get into argument about it. Anyways, so about these things. So that's what the first verse of Romans 15 says. So we who are strong must be considerate of those who are sensitive about things like this. And then he comes the thing that God really been teaching me. We must not just please ourselves. Because whether we want to admit it or not, when we get everything that we want, when we want it, just be honest. I mean, if you are just honest, just think about it. If and when you get everything that you want, whenever you want it, you don't learn certain things that otherwise you will learn. For example, and the hard part is when you can. That's the hard part. When you can fulfill those things that you want. Because then like you are completely surrendering to God. And you are learning to actually let God be God in your life. Because it's so easy to not get things that you want, but you can't. And that was going to be my example. When I was growing up, there were so many things that I wanted. When I was like this little kid, and I would see like the girls at school, they would be like wearing this like shoes, or I grew up in I was born in the Dominican Republic, and I was there until I was 12 years old, I think, and then I came here to the United States. So most of my teenagers here are here. But looking back, when I was back in DR, you get, it's uniform. So when you go to school, you use uniforms. And sometimes I was like, man, why can I not have a nice uniform? Because my uniform was like worn. Oh my God, it was worn out. It was even like the uniform like from the last year. It was bad. Okay, like because I didn't have the means. I'm not gonna get into the whole like childhood trauma, because that's not what this this episode is about. Anyways, I would see, other girls with like new uniforms and her shoes and like her backpack and like her pen and pencils and notebook. And then, and then there was me with like, the basic things, barely with the basic things. And in my heart, I would think, man, why can I not have these things? Like, it would be nice to have what I actually need to go to school. And in that scenario, I didn't have the means to, to have what I wanted and actually needed. So it was not just like, oh, I want this. I needed it. So it's so easy to not, to not have access to it. I didn't have the means. Now, what the Lord was teaching me now is I do have the means now to buy the things that I want. And knowing, or just, it's not knowing. So meeting myself to God and those circumstances are, I think, it's my opinion, again, my opinion, you don't have to agree with it, are the hardest, because you have the means. As a human being, you're like, I have the money, like, and nothing is stopping me from getting that thing that I want, or doing that thing that I want, that I think is going to help me in an X part of my life. I don't know. You put in the blank. I'm just putting my example, because that's how the Lord was like teaching me my heart. It's posting things in my heart, so they can actually, so he can actually like mend it. And I was like, but why can I not have it? Like, what is so bad about a lipstick? I got into this whole argument with the Lord. I was like, Lord, what is so bad about having a lipstick? And he's like, Nancy, it's not about the list. It's not about the lipstick. It's about why you want the lipstick. What are you searching in the lipstick? And I know this is probably gonna sound like very, I don't know, superficial and insignificant, but it's the little things, guys. Sometimes you be doing stuff and you think you're just doing it because you like it, but when you dig into it, you're like, oh my God, like I'm actually trying to affirm, like I'm actually trying to look for something that I think this thing is going to give me, when only the Lord can give it to me. And he was like, why do you want the lipstick? And I was like, because I want it. And then he actually, no, and he was like, yeah, no, that's not the correct answer. As in, you're not telling me the truth. So why do you want the lipstick? Because you already have lipsticks. And I was like, you probably have lipsticks, but I want this specific lipstick. And he was like, what is your heart going after? And that hit me. I was like, wow, what is my heart going after? And then I realized that I was hiding behind buying stuff, because momentarily that will give me a sense of happiness or normalcy, and it will give me a sense of control, because in this area of my life I'm able to buy this lipstick, but you, Lord, because for some reason in this specific area you're not giving me what I think I need. And then I was like, oh my God, I've been exposed. I was thinking, I know it sounds like probably very naive, very insignificant, but by buying more lipstick, I was trying, because man, you can try to put off a saw to yourself, but you don't do that to God. I was doing a whole like hallucination that I was in control of my life, because there's this specific area, and it is the romantic area, that I feel like I have no control whatsoever, because that's just how it is. Because that's how the Lord wants it. And I was trying to look for control in other areas of my life, to try to to compensate for that area that I feel the Lord is punishing me. And all this came through an honest conversation with the Lord. Like, why do you want the lipstick? And when he told me that, I was like, oh my God, Lord, you are absolutely right. Like, I'm actually doing this in vengeance with you because I feel you are punishing me by not allowing me to be in a relationship. So because I feel that in that area of my life, I lack zero control. I have zero control. I'm trying to find other areas in my life where I do have control, and I'm doing it as a way to tell you that, like, you know what, I can handle my life. If I wanted to, I could do it. And then I realized how stupid, I'm so sorry. And then I realized how stupid that sounded because he is God. Listen, you and I, we cannot, if there's something that you and I cannot do, is a lie to the Lord. You know, you can lie to others people because they don't know your heart. You know, they just know what is in the outside. But to the Lord, there's nothing in his presence. I mean, and the Bible says it. There's nothing in his presence that will not come out to the light. And then, of course, I repented. And I know this probably sounds, as I've been saying, it sounds like something irrelevant and mundane. But that's my experience. You then analyze yourself. The thing that you are running behind, why are you doing it? Like, why do you want that thing? And be honest with you. I mean, just talk to the Lord and just tell him, okay, what am I looking by going after this? Am I looking for honor? Am I looking for validation? Am I looking for to keep up a reputation? Am I looking for, I don't know, security? Am I looking for love? Am I looking for stability? I mean, you name it, you tell yourself. And then it gets to the part of character. Because the whole thing about walking with the Lord, as I've been saying, is really about like your heart. I got exposed. He told me, you don't want the lipstick. You're just trying to find control in your life. And this is how you're trying to, tell yourself that you have control. And tell me that you can have control in your life. And it's also about learning self-discipline. Because listen, not everything that we want is good for us. I don't know, maybe you want, and I can put like very simple examples. Let's say you want a particular job and you're studying. Okay, let's say you're studying full time and you want this particular job. And you meet all the requirements. So like you're the perfect candidate. And you're like, well, I want it. I want the job because I'm the perfect candidate. Like I match. Like I know I'm gonna do a great job, and I just want to, to continue growing as a professional. I want to continue like expanding my connections and like my professional network. But then when you look at it, in the practice, it's nothing bad. Okay, nothing bad with wanting a job. Okay, but then you you look into it and you're like, okay, so this is my class schedules. This is the commitment that this work requires. And there's actually a conflict. Like there's no way for you to actually do this job and then do your study without collapsing. And it's not a bad thing, but it's gonna come at a cost that's gonna be detrimental to you. You probably won't have time to rest as you want to, or you won't have time for your studies as you want to, or you're probably going to do a mediocre work because you won't have like the actual time and commitment that the job requires. So it can be like simple things like that, because it teaches you about like just like being wise. So, and this is why the last point I was gonna get after. So besides that, it shows like when we want things and we desire things, and when we are honest with God, and we actually get into the root, not the behavior, the root of why we're doing certain things. And God, in his loving kindness, he exposes it so we can like actually work on it. Then the other thing that he tells you is to submit to him. It teaches you like endurance, self-discipline, just being a person of character. Because even if you can have something, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have it. And I really don't know how else explain this. Like, it's that simple. And it builds a character in you, because there's going to be a time and a day that you probably are used to, having access to certain things. But what happens if one day you don't have access to those things anymore? Like, what is going to happen to you? Like, if you cannot continue living like in the way that you are used to and that you want to, and something happens, because listen, life goes around. You can be here today, and tomorrow, who knows, like you're here because something happens. And when you are, it's so much harder for you to adapt to like drastic changes when you are used to, I see something, I want it, and I have it. I mean, it doesn't teach you to like work for things. Like, what about savings? I know. What about, okay, rewarding yourself? Okay, I know I want this, but do I really need this right now? There's a difference. I already talked about that. It's like, okay, and why? Okay, what is the reason for me to buy it? Am I gonna be happy for it? You're probably gonna get it, and then you're gonna have it for 3 days, and you're gonna be obsessed with it for 3 days, and then after you have it, it's out there like in your room, just because you already have it. Like, it has lost like the sparkle of like, oh my God, I want it, because you already have it. You already have access to it. It becomes common to you. You just leave it, and you're like, yeah, that's it. And then you're looking after another thing. And if you look at the pattern, you are looking for something. You are looking for something. Like, when you just continue to accumulate things and just buy things because you want it, you see it, I want it, I work hard, like I deserve it, then you have them. They don't fulfill you, trust me. I've had people who wanted like a specific perfume, and they were like, I want that perfume, and they didn't get it. And then they're like, oh, it's not like, it doesn't smell like as I thought it was going to smell. And then they put it somewhere in the room, and then they don't wear it ever again, because like they already have access to it. But then they still feel like the need and the urge. Oh, okay, then okay, the problem was that perfume. I need other perfume. Maybe other perfume would actually like satisfy my my expectations. And it's not about, and again, it's not even about the perfume. It's not even about buying the thing. It's about, what are you going after? Like, what is your heart going after? By having this thing, what are you telling yourself that you will get by having access to that thing? And if we are honest, like if you and I are honest with ourselves, most of the time, like when we dig into stuff, we are looking, God bless you, I'm Ryan. And if we are honestly, like we are looking for validation, for comfort, for security, for things that simple objects cannot give us. Like, they can, at the moment, they will make you feel happy because you have it. You have it. You have for a few moments. You're like, ooh, you feel fancy. You wear it or whatever. But then, like, the spark, like, is gone, because it was never about like that. It was about what were you telling yourself that you were going to feel when you had it. And then those are the things that we tell ourselves. Like, oh, when I do this, I'm gonna be happy. When I finally accomplish this, I'm gonna be happy. And then we're never satisfied. And guess what? You're never gonna be satisfied because only God satisfies you. And that's why we won't always get what we want. Because what we want is not necessarily what we need. And it's not necessarily what is going to mend our hearts. And it's not necessarily what's going to fulfill us. And the only person who can ever do that is God. Only if you allow him to do it. When you understand that your value comes from God and not from things, then things take a different a different meaning. And you will be like happy with the simple stuff. Even something from the dollar store. I don't know. Because you know that your validation, your identity, your honor, your dignity, who you are, your value doesn't come from whether you have that thing or not, or whether you achieve it or not. You know that whatever you do in life and whatever you are, it doesn't matter. It doesn't add to who you are, because already the person who loves you says that you are perfect the way that you are. So, all that to say, we won't always get what we want, even when they're good things, because God and his mercy is trying to save us from ourselves, and is trying to show us in our heart truly what is going on, so he can, help you heal, and then you can go about life without running after things for validation. So you go from running after things for validation to just like being, and not trying to prove to anyone that whether you have X or Y, it doesn't defines who you are. And I hope you truly get it, because that's what God has been like teaching me. And it's so profound, because you really stop chasing after things. Like you no longer feel the necessity to surround yourself with things to feel good about yourself, because you know that your validation and your honor comes from the Lord. So that's it, guys. So next time you go to buy something, or you go to do something, ask yourself, or ask the Lord, why do I want this? And I hope we are humble enough to let him search our heart, so he can actually tell us what is it that we are going afterwards, so we can then go about things from the right place and the right heart. Okay, well, take care, and I shall see you in October. September. Bye, guys.